I ask myself always the question as a judge. The question is, whose body do I want to have? But that's not what you can say about those guys the day they win those competitions.
In recent years, the focus has shifted from building an extremely aesthetic physique to building more and more muscle. Arnold had some scathing comments on this situation, and now modern bodybuilders are responding back. Modern bodybuilding. Bodybuilding is all about shaping the muscles in the body into a form that is either aesthetically pleasing to the bodybuilder themselves or to admirers. Knowing just exactly where to stop is an art in and of itself. The mission for a bodybuilder is not only building massive muscle, but knowing exactly how far they should take it. If you're a lover of the golden era of bodybuilding in the 1970s, then you admire the frames that men like Sergio Oliva, Franco Columbu, Frank Zane, and Arnold Schwarzenegger built. Their forms focused a great deal on symmetry and building a truly aesthetic form. It wasn't solely about being big or even extremely shredded. They focused more on building a body that was well proportioned and strong. Of course, they want to be shredded, and of course, they wanted the muscle, but they had an understanding that they wanted to look physically impressive and superior to the average man, while still maintaining a form that could be considered closer to normal. Arnold's comments on modern bodybuilding. Everyone has their opinion on what the perfect body is, and each individual will have to decide what that means to them. But one person who's been voicing his opinions on how a bodybuilder should truly look is the great Arnold Schwarzenegger himself. The Austrian oak has gone on record stating that the bodybuilders of today have built physiques that are far too muscular and are less aesthetic. It's the opinion of a man from a different era, and that opinion is sparking some interesting responses from the bodybuilders of today. Arnold Schwarzenegger, 7-time Mr. Olympia champion, and undoubtedly one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time, slammed bodybuilding in some comments. Arnold wasn't great for bodybuilding because he simply had an amazing physique, or even that he'd held the top titles in bodybuilding for so long. He pretty much owned an entire decade single-handedly. No, he was great for bodybuilding because he made it mainstream. When Arnold, who has done more for the world of bodybuilding than any other on the planet, speaks passionately about the future of bodybuilding, people pay attention. So what are his thoughts on modern bodybuilding?
Like, for instance, so many of those guys have their stomachs sticking out. What are we talking about here? I mean, it used to be that you should have a V-shaped body. I don't know, it's like kind of like a bottle-shaped body or something like that.
Schwarzenegger was highly respected for his balanced proportions and aesthetic physique. With the rising popularity of mass monsters in the open class, Schwarzenegger issued a stern warning and stressed that the sport is destroying athletes because they are taking it too far. The open class is at the forefront of the sport, and fans flock to shows worldwide to see the biggest and freakiest athletes compete on stage. Schwarzenegger, however, believes athletes have become too consumed with adding size and less concerned with their overall health. The sport has seen a frightening number of deaths as of late, which Schwarzenegger believes was less of an issue during his time in the limelight. Ronnie Coleman on Arnold's comments on modern bodybuilding. Only people living under a rock would be unaware of Ronnie Coleman and his bodybuilding history. Winning the Mr. Olympia title for 8 consecutive years is not child's play after all. Furthermore, he won 26 IFBB titles and is popular as the GOAT of bodybuilding. Ronnie Coleman is one of the 2 superstar bodybuilders besides Arnold Schwarzenegger. Although the bodybuilder has immense respect for his senior, Schwarzenegger, not each of his thoughts aligns with Arnold's. Their views and opinions regarding modern bodybuilding are one such example. Bodybuilding was not Coleman's first choice. Initially, he joined the Arlington Police Force and then shook hands with weightlifting and powerlifting. Since then, his bodybuilding career took a sudden jump and reached its peak in no time. With that much experience, what is his perception of the sport?
Arnold would have been by far the best bodybuilder ever. Look at that shape.
I got it.
He'd have been by far the best thing ever put out on stage.
Given his enthusiasm and dedication to lifting weights, his expertise in the sport is obvious. Likewise, Arnold's dominance in the bodybuilding world during his era is nothing unknown. Nonetheless, the 2 legends do not share similar ideas when it comes to modern bodybuilding. Back in 2016, they added a new posing round to all 6 Arnold Classic events. This additional round carries its weight and is also included in the overall tally. According to the 7-time Mr. Olympia champion, the participants must put weight on their poses and body postures. Nevertheless, this is not what Coleman thinks. In the same year, the muscle man expressed his contrasting opinions in an interview. The interviewee asked him if he agrees with Arnold's opinions, to which he explained why he does not. Continuing his speech, he clarified that he is fine with anything that is helping the sport grow. It is not about Arnold or Coleman, but about what's benefiting bodybuilding and its participants. Phil Heath's reaction. Arnold's slightly blunt and harsh comments about modern-day physiques became controversial. We all know it by now. He thinks modern physiques are rubbish compared to the days of the golden era. Some people agree, while many others got defensive, claiming that times change. The freaks are what people want. These kinds of debates were already happening between fans for years before Arnold talked about it on the public stage. But what is interesting is that Arnold has now brought it out into the media and forced modern bodybuilders to throw their 2 cents in as well. Well, Phil Heath certainly had something to say. Phil Heath is one of the greatest and most accomplished bodybuilders of all time. The Gift, as he is also known, has won 7 Mr. Olympia titles in his career. In 2008, after his appearance at the Arnold Classic, Phil Heath would turn his focus to the Mr. Olympia competition. He would not be a huge success at first, although he would do very well. His first showing would see him land a surprising 3rd place. However, in the following year, Heath would drop to 5th place.
Schwarzenegger is a great athlete for the sport of bodybuilding. He was very well known for obviously doing all those movies. I'm not here to trash the guy's name. I mean, he's done a great job. What I'm saying is that when you have an invitational, such as the Arnold Classic, and you don't like certain physiques, I hope you don't invite him to your party next year.
However, it was in 2010 that Phil would briefly compete at the Arnold Classic, again earning 2nd place. Nevertheless, it was right back to Mr. Olympia, where he scored 2nd place. It was at this point that Phil Heath would begin his reign over the Olympia competition. At the age of 32, in 2011, Phil Heath would win his first Mr. Olympia championship. This would be his first of a 7-year streak of the defend his title of Mr. Olympia. Apparently, Phil didn't like what Arnold had to say about today's bodybuilders. Did he take it too personally? Phil stated if he didn't like those bodybuilders, don't invite them to his party. Also saying that Dexter Jackson, the 2015 winner, has won more Arnold Classics than anyone, and he's one of the most aesthetic bodybuilders that currently compete at that level. Callum, Levrone, Piana, and Rambod also react to Arnold's comments. It seems everyone had something to say about Arnold's harsh comments on modern bodybuilding. Starting with Callum von Moger, who hails from Victoria, Australia, is the reigning WFF Mr. Universe, a Cellucor-sponsored athlete and a fitness model. As a child, he grew up watching Steve Reeves on television as Hercules, and of course, Arnold became his primary source of inspiration. The physiques of the 1970s were the epitome of bodybuilding for von Moger. Taking inspiration from these bodybuilding icons, he is driven by a strong ambition to create a customized classic physique that is all his own. When Kevin Levrone, a nearly unknown from Baltimore, won, it was only the first time he shocked the bodybuilding world. He did it again a year later, when, as a rookie, he nearly seized the Sandow. And he kept surprising us until 2003, when he retired without really retiring. But not all bodybuilders were happy with Arnold's words. Everyone has their opinion on what the perfect body is, and each individual will have to decide on what that means to them. Schwarzenegger, in his comments, said he is concerned that athletes, mostly in the men's open division, are playing Russian roulette with their lives. Bodybuilder Rich Piana was the winner of many fitness competitions, including Mr. California. Piana was perhaps better known for his brash social media presence, amassing nearly 1.2 million Instagram followers and almost 960,000 subscribers on YouTube. He was open about his history of steroid use, disclosing that he had been taking steroids for about 25 years to gain an edge in fitness competitions. With 19 Olympia titles to his credit, Hani Rambod, otherwise known as the Pro Creator, is the mastermind behind some of the top physiques in the world. That's all for today's video. See you next time.